We're back, we're racing, and we are talking the Monaco Grand Prix, the high-speed Apex 50% race. As you can see, the qualifying here, we're going to go through the running order in a minute. We've got another night race around Monaco, and the pole sitter for this one is Monaco. He finally pulled it out of the bag and got pole position ahead of this man, Snipes, in P2. We know he's got the pace there. Coming up in P3, we've got Harry West. Good performance from him, ourselves in P4. Looking for a good race here. In P5, we've got the other McLaren in Philly. Looking for a good race with him. Then we've got Creeping Wing in P6. P7, we've got the Ferrari of Killer Falls, number 75. And going into P9, we've got the other Renault of Aki. The Haas at the back of the grid, we've got Chonny. He did have a grid place penalty, unfortunate there. So we're going to get into the race now, guys. Hoping for a clean one. It was a pretty good one in the 25% championship. This is the 50%. What was your thoughts going into it? We're getting ready for lights out here. And there's 5 red lights. And away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's a pretty good start here. We're going to get up to the outside of the McLaren going down into turn 1. We're going to concede that position. In doing so, we're going to let his teammate through as well. So a bit tardy there. We've lost 1 position off the line. We've also got Killer Falls up our gearbox. Looking tasty. We've got the McLaren running a bit wide at this point here. Compromised his line there. Has compromised a bit of speed. Rubbed it off there. I can see everyone running pretty cleanly at this point here. It's always got to brake nice and early here when there's lots of cars. You can see the McLaren, 2 cars ahead, going right up the back there, getting a bit too close and personal. If someone has a moment, you're going to have a moment. That's the nature of this circuit. There's only one optimum line, unless someone does have an incident and does touch a barrier, for instance. But yeah, into lap 1, pretty clean start. We're into P5, like we say. We've lost a position, and we're just looking to get into the zone, get into the rhythm of this track. That's what it's all about. We've got 39 laps of this Grand Prix, and as you can see, we've already got the McLaren there. He's made contact with the inside barrier. He's probably taken his end plate off there, and he's going to be running a bit slower. We can already see a gap forming to the cars ahead, so we're going to really have to push on now in this race and try and get ahead of this slow-moving Philly. He's got damage. He's going to be a bit wounded, but it's always hard going down into turn 1. So we've got Munjukla with the fastest lap of the race on the opening lap there. We're going to brake nice and deep into turn 1. You can see him suffering a bit there. Had to scrub a bit of pace off the apex. So into lap 2, we're just going to try and pressure him into a mistake at this point, so we can get the off-board of this start of the Grand Prix. So a good start for Munja. Snipes slotted into P2. You can see us there losing out of position. A few cars wide there at the back of the grid, but no harm done. And we're going to move into the end of lap 2. You can see just here going into the braking zone, brake nice and early. We got punted up the rear end from Killer Falls, put us into the barrier, but we managed to continue and onwards we go. So you can see Snipes with the fastest lap, turning the screw, applying the pressure now to the leader, Winjakla, onto lap 3. So yes, it's looking like it's going to be a good race. We've got some boys with pace at the front of the order. We can see the incident once again here. The Ferrari just getting into the back of us there, and you can see the Renault up the inside of him for good measure. So on to lap 4, we're applying the pressure now to Philly ahead of us. Remember, he's probably got a bit of a wounded beast of a car to drive, and he's a bit slow on the apex there. We get a warning for corner cutting. Plenty of us got them, I'm sure, for that throughout this Grand Prix. But already some action for the opening parts of this Grand Prix, and plenty more to come, lads, plenty more to come. We've got a bit of extended highlights here for you, considering we've got no action and we've got VSC deployed. So we're going to make a bold statement here. Are we going to go into the box? Yes, we are. We're going to try and optimize this right now, guys. We're going to try and get on a bit of a different strategy. We are going to go with a medium compound. We do need a soft-ish tyre to get us some decent pace, because that's going to be critical if we're going to get to the end, because if you've not got no confidence in the car, it's going to be all over. So coming back out here, you can see we're returning to racing speed. We're currently P6, where we dropped a position, and yeah, on lap 5 of this Grand Prix, looking to go long and really deep into this race. We know there can be other instances as well, like potentially full safety cars, so the strategy can always come back to us at this point in the race. So we've got 2 cars in the pits here, maybe 3 cars. We've got the 2 McLarens, I think, in the pits. That's moving us up into P4. We can see we've got a Renault ahead of us. That is Snipes. And we've got another VSC deployed. So that's put us into some really good track position now. We're right behind Snipes. And we know if we're close to Snipes, we're close to the lead of this Grand Prix, baby. So, yeah, we've got the VSC deployed, and we're going to get racing again soon. Just a little replay here of the pit stops and how it shook out coming out of the box. Going down into turn 1, we can see the McLaren just coming out there. Snipes already into turn 1, and then we've got the VSC has been deployed. So back to racing speed. We've got green flag racing once more on lap 6 of this Grand Prix. And yeah, really time to get the hammer down. Just try and stay on the back of Snipes, not too close to him. Of course, if we stay to the back of him, we're going to be at the front end of this grid, that's for sure. So yeah, feeling really confident in the car at this point in the Grand Prix. I felt pretty good in this race. How did you feel? How was it? How was the race coming towards you? Let me know in the comments below. And yeah, just getting in the groove at this point. And once you get in the zone of Monaco, there's no better place when you feel like you've got a bit of pace. It really is rewarding. So coming into lap 7 at this point. Still P4 behind Snipes. Coming into lap 8 now though. I think we've got a car in the box just coming out ahead of us. And that's the Monaco. So we've overtaken him. We're up to P3 at this point in the Grand Prix on lap 8. So going pretty well. We know what it's like having Munja behind us. He does apply the pressure, and we're catching up to the back of Snipes. He's got a car in front of him for, as well. And he's cut the corner a bit there. Probably got a warning for that, Snipes. And yeah, applying the pressure. I think it's his teammate ahead of him. So yeah, lap 3. Sorry, we're third in the race on lap 9. And just trying to keep it out the barriers. You can see Snipes bouncing over the place there, having a difficult time. His teammate is definitely slower than him, but it's just so hard to get the drive, get the traction around someone around here. There's only one optimum line. Going down into turn 1, a bit of brake locked up going in there, and you can see Snipes, he wants a piece of this. He's lurking, and we want to stay out of any incident as well. If they do touch ahead of us, it's going to be carnage. And we're really tight here. We've got Munja right up our gearbox as well. It's so tight. And Snipes is thinking about it. He's touched the touch wheels there. We go side by side. Oh my god, it was almost disaster at that point. Good racing, lads. You can see Snipes, he's gone a bit of ghost there. That's probably just as well. We're so tight there. So we're on lap 10, going into lap 11 at this point. Snipes really wants to get a move on at this point because it's just closing the field up and applying more pressure. It's brought Monaco back into the contention for the race win as well as us. And yeah, we've got to make something happen pretty soon. You can see Snipes all over the back of him. And he's just nowhere to go at this point. Nowhere to go. It's just going to be about if he makes a mistake. Can the Aki hold up his teammate for long enough? I don't think he's boxed at this point in the Grand Prix. Let me know if he did or not, Aki. Oh, really tight racing. And just, so marginal there to the back of Snipes. You've got to be so careful. You can see he's gone up the inside and touching wheels. No love lost between the teammates there. Some great action. Aki really defending for his life. Snipes attacking for his life. You can see he's lagging around a bit now, Snipes. Bit of a poor connection. It looks like the car's just bouncing around the track. Bit of pinball off the walls at Monaco. So yeah, we've got Munja right up our gearbox. We've got to be really conscious of a dive bomb at any point in this race now. And yeah, into lap 11, some really good racing, really intense racing. And yeah, just got to be so alert to your senses in terms of when that car's braking ahead of you and be a bit early on it as well. We're getting a nice off-board here. You can see the fine margins between the cars. All it takes is one to ding it and it's going to be a domino effect. And we're all going to be out of the race. As you can see, Snipes there touching the back of his teammate. Getting really close and personal. There's no social distancing here, lads. This is really at the cutting edge of the Grand Prix. So you can see Snipes is lagging a bit over the place here. We've got overtaken a lap car, and because of that little lag, it just put me off, and we did touch him and push him off. Real apologies for that, Snipes. I know karma's going to serve me well, and we'll see that later in the Grand Prix. So we're moving up, we're into P2 on lap 12 of this Grand Prix. Getting up behind Aki, trying to apply some pressure of our own to him and try and force him into a mistake. We're going to go to the inside here. We're going to dummy him. We're going to go late up the inside. We're going to make the corner. We're going to touch the outside slightly there. No real damage done to the car, but we're going to go side by side and we're going to have to pull out of it, and it just put us into the barrier. Now we do have damage. Now we do have a red front wing. We've got a 5-second penalty there as well. And yeah, that's just pretty much ruined the race for us there. We're running really well in P2. We tried to go for it. We had to give it a go. And yeah, when we were side by side there, I was the one who tried to give him the space, but it didn't really shake out that way. So on to lap 13. at this point in the Grand Prix. We're going green once again. So we're going to have to box. We've got damage to the car. Remember, we've got a red front wing. We're going to have to get in the pits. And so does everyone else at the same point as well. So this is going to really shake out for a race to the flag. Of course, we've got that penalty for that incident, so we're going to have to serve that. That's going to drop us down behind the other competitors. But nevertheless, that's going to give us a fighting chance in this race. So we're going to put on another set of medium tyres once we serve the 5-second time penalty. Here we go, lads. Get to work pretty quickly here. We're going to have a front wing change as well. We're looking about 8.3 without the penalty. So, yeah, 13.5. Not too bad. Pit stop, guys. Good job on you. We're going to get back out where we're going to shake out. We're in P6. It's going to be P6 coming into the second half of this Grand Prix. Well, we're not even halfway of the Grand Prix yet, are we? We're on lap 14 of 39. We've got a long way to go here around Monaco. And as you can see, we're catching the back of the pack here. And it's all about keeping it tidy. And we've got a car round. We've got the McLaren. It looked like he went round on his own. Do we have another view of it? Was there any contact there involved? Do let me know. And I'd love to see that on your onboard if you were streaming. So yeah, up to P5 on lap 16. You can see we've got Munja all over the back of the Renault in front of us there. Onto lap 19. Munja's thinking about it. He wants to have a piece of him into turn 1, and he gets a bit of a oversteer moment, and we go into the back of him. We can see some damage there caused to the racing point, but he manages to continue. He's going to be a bit slower because of that. He's not going to have the confidence within the car, so this is the time to pounce and to apply the pressure to Munja, which he normally does it to myself. So yeah, coming into the halfway point in this race, and we're not looking too shabby in P5. The leader looks a fair distance away. It's going to be hard to catch him just because of the track position at this point in the race. It's going to take mistakes from other people, and as we can see, we've got Munja. He touches the wall there once again. Don't think that there was any more further damage caused to the racing point. Let me know, Munja, how was your race? How was it racing with that damage towards the end of the Grand Prix? Really tight margins here at this point in the race. We can see Munja, though, he's still over the back of who's this ahead of us here. Can't really see on this image here. Was it Harry West? Yeah, some great racing, lads. Really tight quarters. See, you've got a car into the wall, and that was Aki. Sorry, that's Aki. We've got him into the wall. He's had a major moment, and that's put him out the race, I think. So we're up into P4, going into lap 21. It's coming back into us now, and you can see Munja again struggling into turn 1. That's going to be where we're going to have to attack him and really push it. So we can see we've got another warning there and a penalty for good measure. And here you can see another slow apex there into turn 1 from Munja that gives us the drive up the hill here. And we're just going to slot in and hopefully, yeah, just dive up here or something. But we've got to be really careful there. Just going to pick the moment when it comes to us. On lap 22. Munja really suffering at this point. It's nothing worse than driving with damage, is there, Munja? Really difficult stuff. So yeah, on lap 22 here, you can see Munja's in the barrier. Really struggling for grip at this point with no downforce. Certain corners, of course, if you damage one side. And yeah, we're going to just really try attack him. We need to try and get a good drag out of the last corner, and he's going to dive into the pits. At this point in the race, he's going to repair that damage and go on a fresher tyre for the last phase of this Grand Prix. So moving into lap 23, that's promoted us. We've moved up to P2, guys. We're up to P2. Lovely stuff. And we're just going to try go long and deep and keep it consistent at this point. We've got Snipes with a comfortable gap to us ahead there. And we know he's got time penalties as well. As you can see, we've just caused damage. We've clipped the barrier there, getting overly confident, carrying too much speed through there on lap 23. And that's going to cost us. We've got a long way to go till the end of this Grand Prix. We're going to have to manage it with a yellow front left wing there. But we're going to have to carry on. Boxing at this point is not an option. It's going to drop us just track position, and we don't want that at all. Track position is key round here, and even if a car does catch us, it's another thing if he's going to get past us. So lap 24, we're holding P2. Snipes is sitting pretty up in first place. We've got Harry West behind us in the other podium slot. Moving into lap 29, not much happening. We've got Munja now promoted up behind us into third position. And yeah, we've got 10 laps left of the Grand Prix. It's going to be tricky to get towards the end. The tyres are starting to fade as well. And it's a struggle to keep it on the island at this point. We're just trying to keep it good exits and brake nice and early. And you can see we've got another VSC deployed. We haven't had a full safety car around here That's another credit to the game and to the update. And you can see that I think that was Aki there who's binned it in the wall, and that's the end of his race on lap 33. So that's going to slow everything down. That's pretty good because it's just going to control the gap to Munja for a little bit because he was catching us throughout this last phase at a second per lap because he had the fresh wing on there. I think he had to go to a hard tyre. He didn't have any mediums left in the garage. So yeah, on lap 34, only a few laps remaining and just trying to keep it smooth, steady and consistent for the remainder of the Grand Prix. Really struggling through this corner as well. Trying to get the power down. So difficult. Try not to spin it up. It really cost you all the way down there into that hard braking zone. As you can see, we've got blue flags here. Gonna creep past creeping wing. Hopefully, it's always off-putting. We know he's got his teammate behind us, so it's lucky that he does go. So otherwise, he could hold us up and get Munja back into this Grand Prix. But yeah, just the final few laps here, and almost putting it in the wall. Struggling for tyre grip as well as downforce at this point. And as you can see, coming into the final few corners now of this, we've got Munja for good company right up behind us. But it's going to take something extraordinary for him to dive bomb us or something. We're both on for a podium. We don't want to jeopardize that. So the last few corners, the fireworks have gone off. We've got our race winner. It's Snipes once again. That man Snipes. He never fails to disappoint. He's always up there in P1. Congratulations, champ. We get P2 and it's 0.3 seconds behind us. 0.036 seconds rate behind us. That's Munja Klar. What a finish to the Grand Prix. Really well done to you, Munja. You had some great pace at the later phase of that race. What did you make of it, guys? Give me a comment below. Give me a few comments about the talking points, the action going down into turn one. For instance, that shunt in the last sector as well. How was your race? Thanks for watching another We're Racing video. We're going to leave you with the podium celebrations, with the final results and scores, etc. There was plenty of penalties. It was that kind of race, but we'd all done pretty well to get to the end of that Grand Prix, I thought. So thanks for watching another We're Racing video, and we'll join you for the VFL one soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good race. 3 seconds off the lead. Not too bad. Awesome. Bare penalties. No, everyone. The leader had a 12-second penalty. Ooh, that's what I was saying.